Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, Fate of the Fellowship.
They're all dead.
Yes, pretty much. They're all sick. A Joseph McCullough project update for 2025. So good stuff coming. Evil Genius Games is in the news again.
Mm-hmm. And, for good stuff, right?
Sure. It was a noble attempt, let's say. And Bitter Chalice by World Anvil. We'll talk about that. So let's start off with Pandemic, right? That Pandemic board game is it's the new Monopoly, right? Because they're just reskinning it with everything. So now it's getting the Lord of the Rings treatment. Yeah. So Fate of the Fellowship is a Middle Earth treatment of Pandemic, and Matt Leacock, at Z-Man Games, is responsible, is working on it, right. And it's going to drop in June. So a quote, from their press stuff, the Lord of the Rings Fate of the Fellowship will feature a thematically rich cooperative gameplay. So players take the roles of the heroes to defend the havens of Middle-earth from advancing shadow troops while helping Frodo evade the hunting Nazgûl as he travels to Mount Doom to destroy the One Ring.
Okay. So it kind of sounds like you're not playing, at least, you might not be playing as the Fellowship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just, maybe kingdoms or forces,
or something, or you're playing people of the Fellowship and you just happen to not be playing Frodo. Not sure.
So they say this. It's designed for 1 to 5 players, 13 playable characters, and then 14 event cards. 24 objectives. So 13 players. Okay. I guess, but right. 13 players and some other folks, but all new art, which is cool. But the centerpiece of this project is an 11-inch die tower of Barad-dûr. Yes, just what you need. A replica of Sauron's stronghold.
At least it's a die tower, so it does something. But
you're right. You just have a thing in the middle there.
Don't need it.
Right.
Don't need it.
Yes. So since 2016, there have been several settings. So we've had a Cthulhu pandemic, World of Warcraft, and Star Wars have all gotten the pandemic treatment.
You know what else I seen? At the last game day I went to, there was Fate of the Republic, which was basically Roman Empire. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of on a Roman Empire kick. I'm like, it's Pandemic rethemed as Roman Empire.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. They've gotten all into it. Well, so the original designer said, this feels like coming full circle for me, he says. So I started my cooperative games journey playing the Reiner Knizia's Lord of the Rings in 2000. And that game was a major influence on my design of Pandemic. Now, 25 years later, I'm honored to be able to offer my own take on Tolkien's masterpiece of fantasy literature. It's been a long time.
2000 was
25 years ago. Yes, it was.
Okay. Yep. Yes,
we're going to have a lot of brutal anniversaries to deal with. There's another one coming up. So Leacock is going to provide kind of diary-style design updates on the kind of progress of Fate of the Fellowship, if you'd like to follow that along. We're looking at... was launching in June, and if you want to get a signed early copy, you better get yourself to the UK, because the UK Games Expo, he'll show up and maybe do that.
Oh, nice.
So let's see how that goes. So summer launch, and probably the first chance to get your hands on it is UK Games Expo. So speaking of designers that we like, let's find out what this year brings for the Joseph McCullough and Osprey Games relationship there. So the first thing that they were promoting was Harefoot Jousting. So a quick and simple tabletop game. So you play as a team of 3 in a tournament that have seasons, parts of a season, and basically you're jousting halflings.
Yep. Harefoot jousting. Yeah.
Yes. So there was a quote: "The sportsmanship and a sense of humor are as valuable as skill or luck in this game." So something probably somebody doesn't show up, you got a little extra time. This would be a fun thing to bust out and see what they actually did with it, and so a little bit of fun and something kind of off the usual. But back on track is Frostgrave Death Vector. So Death Vector is going to be 8 new scenarios in the outlaw technology sector for Frostgrave. So we'll be battling cyborg automatons and who are hunting down all organic life. So new campaign elements, including the network, which is a cyberpunk-style hacking system for your games, and there'll be new space encounters, advanced technology, and a full bestiary for this new outlaw technology sector, which will probably be all mechanical nonsense.
Yeah, okay. I like Frostgrave. I like Stargrave. Even though we actually got a chance to play Stargrave yet. I'm wondering how they're going to, or if they're going to integrate some kind of hacking, right? Because again, never played it, but like you said, the Infinity games.
Yes, they've got
kind of. It's another way to not play the game, but it's kind of sort of just as important as other aspects of the game. So, I wonder what hacking in the network would feel like in Stargrave.
Yeah, right.
Is it going to be kind of like? Is it just going to be like kind of magical effects? Basically, or is it actually going to be like a whole little sub game where you might be able to win or lose based solely on what you do on the network?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it can affect and what, because the interesting thing in Infinity is if you've got big battle armor, you're a really terrifying, devastating character. But you've got a hacker on the other side of a wall, just like paralyzing you by successfully hacking you every turn. It's it adds a whole new level of, I thought we were just going to be blasting each other, but you can actually infiltrate. So that'll be interesting to see what they do with that. So definitely worth taking a look at, and another a good sci-fi element to add. And we also will be getting Frostgrave Advanced Spellcraft. So new rules. Critical success and failures for all the basic spells, and then spell flourishes, which will enhance your magic, but they will drain you. And the ambulance approaches.
The ambulance approaches. Yeah. Not a spell. Yep.
Yes, and they will also give you undesirable consequences. So don't flourish too much. So to gain these new secrets, you'll have to venture into the Biblio Sepulchre, a full new 10-scenario competitive campaign. So and speaking of painful anniversaries, this book celebrates the Magic in Frostgrave on its 10th anniversary. We've been playing 10 years of Frostgrave. That's crazy. That still seems like we just started playing.
It does.
Yeah, so 10 years. So we definitely have to do something with Frostgrave this year, because that's fun.
No, agreed. Yeah.
Fun to celebrate. A great game. And it's already gotten a second version as well, second edition.
Thank God they nerfed Bone Dart.
They nerfed
Bone Dart. Thank you.
And finally, we've got the Silver Bayonet is going to Britain. So Bones of Albion. So this will, of course, be the British Isles fully competitive campaign, which will introduce specialist units fighting for or against the French, and who are threatening invasion. So against an invasion against a backdrop of ghosts and revenants. Okay. So adding more monsters and ghosts and ghouls, but in a now instead of so they did Carpathia. They've done a bunch of different regions now. Yeah,
I think they I forget which ones they just finished, but
there's a lot of interesting stuff. So so as far as the release schedule, so May we're looking at the Harefoot jousting and and the Stargrave Death Vector. July will get us the Advanced Spellcraft for Frostgrave, and September of this year the Bones of Albion for Silver Bayonet.
If you've never played Frostgrave, you have to leave the chat.
It's required. You must leave. All right. So looking forward to that. So to play all these games, we're going to need a lot of energy, and to prep all these games, I'm going to need some focus and all that good stuff. Well, I just happen to have something that may help us. Yes. And it's, now it is a pair. So previously we were talking about just Magic Mind, and Magic Mind being a something that will give you focus and energy, and also reduce stress. And now it's been paired with something that will enhance its effects, because Magic Mind Sleep will give you good sleep. So these are energy shots, or kind of enhancement shots that will help you invest in your mental wealth. So mental wealth is the thing that Magic Mind has been focusing on for the beginning of this year, and talking about just spending time with exercise, stress management, sleep, diet, and exogenous compounds like Magic Mind and Magic Sleep.
I'm kind of coming around to the idea of mental wealth. Right?
All right. Yes. Yes. So this pair is basically 24 hours of mental performance. The sleep shot will give you better sleep and focus for the daytime. So and I've had they've been nice enough to send us each time samples for the sponsorship, and it does have a nice effect. I can't give up my morning coffee, but this definitely augments that, first kick of caffeine with a sustained kind of.
So instead of like 5 cups, you're down to like 1.
It's just the one. Thank goodness, because anything beyond that gets a little dicey.
Right.
So focus, clarity, a sharper mind, less stress, and clean energy. So and the sleep itself too. So one of the main ingredients in the sleep component is magnesium, and that is actually something that does help you settle down. That was always the thing for getting to sleep. I couldn't quiet my mind and never get to that. Okay, here we go. I'm actually going to be able to fall asleep. Yeah, so I'd turn something on and turn a podcast on or something to help distract me, and it would just keep me awake longer because then I'd be paying attention.
Yep.
But the Magic Mind Sleep has definitely been able. I've been able to relax and drift off.
Oh, nice.
In a much nicer way. So it's a nice compliment, and I was worried if that would actually work. The one thing I did notice though is make sure you're getting a decent. If your night is cut short.
Well, that's what my question was.
You're sleeping deeper, so it's a little bit harder to get up in the morning because you did have a nice restful sleep. So don't cut it short. So along with kind of everything they're talking about, diet, exercise, and everything, this is going to be something that you want to fit into a disciplined schedule, not a reckless like I'm going to stay up until 3 and finish this editing.
Right, and then wow. So like you said, you kind of have to like plan for it and put it into, like you said, a disciplined kind of schedule.
Right. And to get those results, I think that's important. So so Magic Mind has a special offer for you, and you can see the URL at the bottom here. And one thing that they do offer is a no questions asked full 100% refund.
Nice.
After 100 days after buying. So you have up to 100 days, no questions asked, to get a refund if you're not experiencing the results that you'd like. They ship internationally to 65 countries. And are now available at retail. So if you'd like to get 45% off with our code, Magic Mind's bundle of both the sleep and the sleep and regular boost, 45% off on magicmind.com/upturnpodjan. So that's magicmind.com/upturnedpodjan.
Podcast January.
Yes, right. Our January promotion, and that'll give you 45% off of however you want to try it. A sample of 2 weeks, you can get a full month, and a full month can also give you a renewing subscription, which will help you maintain that discount. So yes, thank you, Magic Mind, and back to our regularly scheduled program. Oh wait, can we do this? I have to do this manually.
Buttons.
No, I did make a button, and we're back. So here we go. This is going to be a little bit tough because
okay. So I'm glad you took that Magic Mind.
Yes, so I'm going to be totally transparent, totally honest with you about during this next little piece here,
because we never do that. So.
We're hiding a lot of our dirty laundry. But so a company has reached out to social media users and said, take down this story that's causing us some trouble, and that company was Evil Genius Games. So the publisher of Everyday Heroes is not happy with a couple of articles that appeared on N-World. And N-World does great journalism about tabletop. And this was one of their really good pieces, which was a deep dive into what's going on with Evil Mind. And so Evil Genius Games. Evil Genius Games was first brought to our attention kind of with the Netflix kerfuffle, where Netflix kind of said, "Here, work on Rebel Moon." Nope, it's ours now. Right. And so they had our sympathy, but then
fair enough. Although why we want to, you know what? Yes, okay, I'll go with that. They had our sympathy for a bit.
Yes, but then employees started leaving the company, and employees started saying things that being unhappy about saying things, or saying things about being unhappy, and then we're saying, well, now I'm being threatened with a lawsuit because I said something. So there was a bit of discord at the company, and people were wondering what was going on. N-World did an article called "The Rise and Fall of Evil Genius Games," and they did a timeline and kind of talked about what exactly was frustrating people. A lot of it involved kind of Web3 technologies, like blockchain and NFT, kind of, and the investors that they were getting. And I want a redemption arc here. I really want this to work out, but it's not great. So I think in the process of kind of reestablishing themselves, the CEO, Dave Scott, has been personally reaching out to content creators. I've seen several different channels get promotions and materials for Everyday Heroes, and we were one of them. Yes.
So, that's why it's there.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. So they
can't
actually
see it behind the thing. That is a brick of a book.
That is a big old book. So Dave Scott did reach out in email to us and said, "We'll send you a copy of this. We want to get people to review this and to play this." And I said, "Yeah, because we were already playing Outgunned, and I really want to see.
Good point. Okay.
Yeah, if you can do a generic D20 that is as satisfying as chucking those D6s, and how this would work." So, for sake of comparison, and they did send the book, so we are going to be reviewing it. But at the same time, Dave Scott reached out to some users on Reddit and said, "Hey, you linked to this article on EnWorld, and I would like you to take that down because it's hurting our company." And the kind of heartbreaking thing, though, is the original EnWorld article is not, I think it's on the first page of the results, but all of the Reddit results are first. So it's not even, people aren't even going to EnWorld and sending them the traffic, getting them the ad revenue. They're hitting and seeing the discussion on Reddit first. So that's a little bit frustrating because that's not going to help tabletop news if Reddit is going to be the first thing, first place everybody goes. Right. So the Reddit user Calculus Bear received so I posted a link in 2024 about this article, this original EnWorld article, and Dave Scott did reach out and said, "You got to take this down. You're destroying my company." And it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think he needs to, if they are going to do this and are going to say, okay, what our approach may have been a little slimy, and we got caught up because they were getting IPs from big studios to do the official conversion for their Everyday Heroes of big movies, Pacific Rim, The Crow, really
Kong Skull Island was that part of it too. Yeah.
So he was probably dealing with some brand representatives and getting kind of caught up, and we need funding for this. We need to really get this going. And if you get some people talking, you have that at work, right? People talking to you about how Bitcoin is the future, and you need to get as deeply involved in the blockchain with your company.
Escape my life.
Sorry, but I really think they do need to be more transparent and open about, okay, maybe that was a misstep, and I think a lot of gamers are not going to be happy with that approach. So let's take a step back. I thought directly contacting content creators and saying, "Here, we'd like you to take a look at our stuff," was a good step. But contacting people and saying, "Take that down, we don't like it," not even
take that down. Take that down, we don't like it, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. You weren't even, I don't know. You know what? I don't know what happened between Evil Genius Games and EnWorld. I don't know if EnWorld was contacted and asked to take update, rescind, modify, do something with the article. It seems it seems underhanded to contact people who have linked to that article and say, "You know what? I would appreciate it if you unlinked from that," right?
Right. But that's the sad thing is, though, Reddit was probably getting most of the traffic, so it would be better to tell a Reddit user to take down that link than to go to the actual article, because then you'd be kind of exposing yourself as especially if you're going to threaten a news platform.
Yeah, you don't want to threaten. You don't want to threaten anybody, right? So right. The correct thing to do is basically what you said, right? Kind of own up to it. Say any number of things you could say, right? We got caught up in this, blah, blah, blah. We'll try to do better moving forward, and then actually do that.
Follow up on that. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so some of the things that were a little bit frustrating is they got involved with Alumni Ventures, which is a part of a syndicate that included Blockchain Funders Fund, Hustle Fund, amongst others, that kind of made people a little bit worried. They had a successful a $400,000 Kickstarter for their original release of Everyday Heroes. Since then, they've released the Armory, which is a little less successful, and the Legendary Bundle was the next one. Right. So they kind of had diminishing returns, and I don't think people have been happy with things. So I think that they really do need to kind of approach gamers and really get the word out and get some enthusiasm and say, yeah, we're not going to do that. The things that you suspected we were going to do, we're not going to do that. You're not going to have a Skull Island NFT that you can or an item that you can use in the game as an NFT. So so we'll see what direction they go. But EnWorld did talk about this in when they mentioned it on their site as a little bit of the Streisand effect. You kind of brought attention to something that was already going away for you. It was already, people had already forgotten about that a little bit, and reaching out to content creators. People were happy, just happy to see these books and have a, something they could, a D20 game they could look at and promote that, had some potential, but we'll see. One thing that they are also doing that is Evil Genius Games that I thought was good in support of Everyday Heroes is they're creating their own digital platform for it. Okay. So Sidekick is this content, and it's basically something you could subscribe to get digital versions of all of their content, as opposed to, and then a discount on the physical goods, and then all VTT, like their own made VTT content for that. And so it's a really modest, kind of like a few dollars a month subscription, but they got to be careful, because anything that then starts to smack of, and you can, and this will be on the blockchain. If it is their own digital platform and you get high quality assets, I think that's a really great idea. Because then otherwise you'd have to rely on the community to be making tokens and maps and things. So if they stay away from that and basically say, we understand your your worries, and we're dealing with that by not going for the fast buck. Because I think what we've seen with all of this blockchain based stuff is so much of it is just a rug pull, so much just to get in on this, and you buy this, and thank you, we just made all the money and now it's garbage. So that's a thing to be worried about, and I think that possibly Evil Genius Games could have fallen into themselves. They could have said, oh my god, look at my wallet, my digital wallet has all of this magic numbers, and it's gone. So we hope so we will take a look at Everyday Heroes and give it a little bit of comparison to, because this is licensed, these are licensed properties, and Outgunned, you're kind of playing your generic kind of fantasy version of 80s movies. So we'll see kind of how that works, and if it's more satisfying to play, something, or if the mechanics are generic enough that it doesn't really
that would be my thing, right? As someone who always argues that system matters, does Everyday Heroes feel like a pulp kind of action adventure movie, or does it feel like D&D 5e with differently named classes, and that's basically it?
Right. Yes, that's true. So so we'll keep you up to date on that, and hopefully they can kind of use this little moment to
think about what they've done and course correct.
Yes, come back to us with clean hands.
Or they may have burned their reputation beyond repair.
That'd be a shame, because they're not a huge company. I mean, they were very ambitious. They were going after kind of a big scale, a big presence. Too close
to the sun, the wax, right? Whatever.
Too close to the IP licensing sun. Yep. All right, and lastly, we're gonna get a little bitter with Bitter Chalice. Okay. So a Souls-like fantasy RPG, tabletop RPG, where you will play in the inspired by things like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, basically fighting big bads and the high chance of dying.
Okay, I want to hear more.
Being resurrected. So this is World Anvil Publishing, who did the Broken Tales, their kind of fantasy, a fairy tale inspired setting. So taking kind of Snow White or Red Riding Hood and twisting it into a setting
beyond recognition.
Twisting it into a setting for an RPG that had some satisfying and kind of using the same kind of inspiration of European folk tale as opposed to European mythology. And so Bitter Chalice looks like a lot of fun. They chose specifically an artist, and I didn't get the name of the artist, but it's got a very unique. One artist is doing the work, all of the artwork for the book, and it's very cohesive and very very different from what they've done before. With their Broken Tales, they did kind of a black, red, and white, kind of very heavy look, and this is it's more. I don't know. It's
dreamy?
A little
Ethereal?
bit like more dreamy, and a little bit like early like Tim Burton illustrations, like that kind of nightmare fantasy
whimsical
kind of stuff. A little bit more whimsical.
Sorry, grimsical.
Grim and whim. Yep. Yes. So a quote from the from the page that they're promoting. I once lingered at the edge of the Blightlands near the sealed wall of Valthan, walls raised by the united churches to trap the festering ruin forever. Long ago, holy water flowed, and the Edolorius guided its distillation. But wars and ancient forces have since twisted that once pure. That was once pure. Now the city chokes on madness. So I looked. They had a little quick intro to give you a taste of the system and the artwork and everything on the kind of the coming soon Kickstarter page. And it's a 3d6 system, and you basically have like a six attributes that you have a standard stat line that everybody has to just kind of set from between 3 to -1. That you give each of these things to, and they're very basic, like heart and intelligence, and kind of explained in that ways. In those ways, but so it looks like interesting, kind of fun test, but also a bit deadly, like the games that they're inspired by, the Souls-like.
I would want to learn. I'd want to learn more because I do not play video games at all, but I am in pop culture enough to know that like Souls-like means in a video game you die,
right?
Yes. And then if you have saved correctly, or if you've hit whatever last spawn point, that's where you pop up again. That's a spawn point. And part of the appeal I interpret of these Souls-like game is, damn, I lost again. Get good, right? Like you the player learn how, especially the bosses, act, right?
Right.
And it's dying again and again and again that you're like, okay, this time I've got all the moves down. I know what to do to beat this person. And obviously it's a different medium from when you go to tabletop games.
Right.
And I've seen some other Souls-like games for tabletop that have mechanics that if they don't reward you for dying, they emulate the increasing player knowledge of when you lose, right?
Right.
You get some kind of meta currency or something, and you go back to like a spawn point. Like I think one of the first times I encountered it was the Dungeon World supplement, last life of, damn, I'm drawing a blank on it. It was a really evocative setting because I'll put it up in chat, because like everybody was dead and everybody plays undead, and so dying didn't matter.
Oh,
right. Like in the traditional sense,
right,
what mattered was there was a move where you could make camp, right? And it kind of replicated the save point in the game. Like, okay, everybody, we're at this point, we'll make camp, and if you dropped to 0 hit points and died, you just woke up at the last point where you made camp, but meta things kind of adjusted, right? Like your body started deteriorating, right? And that was really interesting and really evocative. And I think the mechanic captured that sort of gameplay loop of building up knowledge each time you died. And I've also seen it in Spencer Campbell's Rune, which is like a solo game. In that one, like, okay, if you die, not really that big a deal, except all the little minions respawn every place you've been to, right?
Right.
So I'm curious to see if this Bitter Chalice Games does something similar, because that, to me, as a video game outsider, is what the Souls-like experience is.
Right. Yeah, so from the coming soon crowdfunding website, so Bitter Chalice offers a complete game system, meticulously crafted areas to explore in and around the city of Valthan, a map that deepens with every step you take, packed with additional content to make each session unique. Yeah, so you're basically exploring in a city, but they really said because of the because of what can happen in there, it's a lot of replayability, which I think is another kind of Dark Souls. You're treading the same ground, but different things are happening, and they're also doing a fully developed solo mode.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, and they do really high quality books, gorgeous art in this one. So take a look at this. And there was also on the Not D&D podcast, the designer. Yeah, that's a really good podcast actually. Endworld does a good job with that. So that's Endworld Publishing. Tabletop Jess does the interviews on there, and she interviewed one of the World Anvil creators, and I just had his name right there. I think it was Tomas and talking about Tommaso de Benetti and talked about basically the inspiration, the artists that they found and everything to do this. So I'll put a link to that in the description. That's definitely worth checking out. A good interview if you're at all interested in trying something new.
I do like podcasts and interviews. I unfortunately have to deal with words a lot in work, and therefore can't listen to anything with words. Right. I have just transcribed this part. Damn.
So Desolate Fantasy with Bitter Chalice. So I'll put a link, and that's coming soon for crowdfunding. I'll put a link to that. Cool. And that's going to do it for this week. Yeah. So where can people find you?
Not on X, because I've been suspended. Sorry, I had to slip that in there one more time, right? So Blue Sky mostly, Instagram sparsely, and that's roughly it, right? Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where I'll start gluing little people onto MDF's rectangular boards soon.
Nice.
Right? How about you?
So I'm gonna do a January live
Is that a resolution? Yeah.
Yes. So Abuse Cartoons, my single panel gag cartoon, will get a live stream. It'll show up in this channel as well when it happens. And Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch. And that's happening. So if you like what we're doing here with the weekly, consider becoming a weekling.
The strongest of all supporters.
Yes, on patreon.com/upturntable. Give us feedback about what you'd like to see and the types of content that you enjoy on the channel as well. So there's different tiers to let us know if you are enjoying the actual plays or reviews, what the lore videos, what types of things you like on the channel. And so upturntable.com is the website for everything, and on all social media, just upturntable. So we'll be back again tomorrow with more Dragonbane, and you'll get to see an armored knight duck and his whole party.
The build thing, not like
no, he's a duck in armor.
Okay, I'm pretty sure armored knights can duck. Right?
Who fails a lot of mobility checks, but. We'll see how that goes. So another kind of quick start, kind of probably a single session adventure for Dragonbane. So
cool.
So tune in for that, and we'll see you again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye.